In this video, we're going to compare the Logitech G600 with the Razer Naga. Now, we decided to do the internet a freaking service because we do have both of these sitting around, and you've been using both of these for a while. I'm here with Pistol, and she's our in-house gamer, and you do all kinds of things, everything from making this to probably editing this video.
Yes, I will be editing this, actually.
All right, so now you had the Naga for a couple of years.
2 years, to be exact.
And you've recently switched over to the G600.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and start talking about it. Now, first off, the CPI. The Logitech is at 8200 max CPI using the Avago EDNS 9800 sensor. That's a new sensor. It's a little bit better than 9500. And then we have the Razer.
The Naga is at 5200 CPI, and there's no lefty version of either of these mice, mind you.
So if you're left-handed, basically, and you want to play an MMO, go screw yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm left-handed, but I just luckily play like a righty. The G600 is slightly bigger than the Naga, but not enough to hinder a small-handed person like myself.
So you mentioned size. The size of the Naga is 116 millimeters by 70 millimeters by 46 millimeters, and the weight is 134 grams. The size of the G600 is 188 millimeters by 75 millimeters by 41 millimeters, and the entire weight, including the 15 grams, that's the cord weight, is 133 grams.
And that is actually 1 gram lighter than the Naga, even though the G600 is slightly bigger in 2 dimensions. The 12 thumb buttons, G600 thumb buttons, are a tiny bit more forward than the Naga. And then, of course, the G600 has a ring click, which the Naga does not. It's just a ring rest.
Now, the G600, the buttons on the side of that, they're all shaped differently. I noticed when I was using the Naga, all the buttons on that one, they're all shaped the same. So it was a little bit difficult for me, because I wasn't used to the Naga, to tell which button that I was on. But with the G600, since they all have different contours, I mean, they're shaped conversely compared to the next row.
Yep.
So it's a little bit easier for me to use.
Yeah, I've never accidentally hit the wrong thumb button on the G600. I have, in my earlier days with the Naga, misclicked a few times with the thumb buttons because they're all quite similar.
But now you're kind of a pro.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten good at it, but the G600, for someone who's new to an MMO gaming mouse that has tons of buttons, the G600, I think, would be a little bit more noob-friendly in the sense that you can really determine which thumb button is which. Also, speaking of buttons, the G600 has a total of 20 buttons, and the Naga has a total of 17. But
you know, if I don't have those extra 3 buttons, I am so dead.
The 3-button difference that the G600 has in comparison to the Naga is that the scroll wheel of the G600 is tiltable, so that's 2 clicks, and then it has the ring click, so that's the 3rd.
You know how many buttons my mouse has? 5. And you know how much software my mouse has? None.
And there's a con with the Naga that I've noticed that the G600 does not have, is that the thumb buttons with the Naga actually get a little bit warm. Even if you're not holding the mouse, if it's just plugged in, just on, then you go to hold it, you will notice that the thumb panel is slightly warm.
I don't think the LEDs are really getting that hot. It might be the PCB or something on the inside that's getting hot.
Yeah, there's something else doing it. The G600 does not do it at all. Even if you have the brightness like all the way up, there's no heat coming from the G600 whatsoever.
Speaking of heat, your hands get warm and they sweat.
Yes. The G600 has a hydrophobic coating where your palm rests and fingerprint resistant coating where your fingertips are. The Naga is just a typical...
It's got the rubberized surface on the back, which feels really nice to me.
Yeah, the sides are just plastic though. The palm is the rubberized part, but it still gets its nasties.
It's nasty as the gunk buildup?
Yeah, the gamer gunk.
Gamer schmegma.
I had to clean the Naga about once every 1 to 2 weeks. And if I didn't keep up with it, then it would get really gross. The G600, I've been using it for about 2 weeks now, and it still looks brand new. The coating does work. The thumb buttons on the G600 are slightly easier to press than the thumb buttons on the Naga, but they're not so easy to press to the point where you would accidentally click them. I still have not accidentally clicked the thumb button by just, picking up and moving the mouse.
And that may be because of the shape of them or something, but they do have a lighter actuation point.
It is so minute, but it's noticeable to me because I used the Naga for 2 years. But I think it's better because I don't accidentally hit them, and I think it would also reduce fatigue in your thumb if you're really spamming the buttons.
Now, speaking of accidental hits, now you can depress the scroll wheel on both, but on the G600 you can also, push the scroll wheel to the left and the right, and that's an additional click. Have you ever accidentally hit that?
No, I have not. and I middle click a lot. I middle click to reload in games, and I middle click to open a new tab, and I have not accidentally hit the tilt click. Both of these mice have braided cables, but I much prefer the braided cable on the G600 because it's a lot softer and it's a lot lighter, and there's no drag to it at all.
Yeah, it's actually a cloth-wrapped braided cable, and again, it does come with the traditional Logitech strap that, like Velcro strap that wraps around. So if your cable's too long, you can wrap it around. So
yeah, keep things nice and tidy. And also, the G600 is slightly smoother to glide on the mouse pad than the Naga is. The Naga isn't terrible to the point where it would annoy you. I mean, it was perfectly fine for the 2 years that I used it, but I noticed that the G600 is smoother.
Now, I do want to bring up something because there are a lot of gamers out there that play multiple genres. Now, you play a lot of FPS games and you play a lot of everything, indie games and everything, and you always use one of these mice. So how is it for you as far as playing an FPS or something else?
Well, actually, the MMO gaming mouse style has saved my life in FPSs quite a few times with fast weapon switching.
Yeah, you map all your weapons to the side buttons, correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the weapons in most FPS games are mapped to the number buttons, which I map to my side buttons. Any good FPS gamer knows that weapon switching is faster than reloading. And if you're having a gunfight with someone and you run out of ammo in whichever gun you have in your hand at the time, you can just hit the button with your thumb really quick, switch to your weapon, your left hand never leaves WASD, and you win the gunfight, because you have that speed and maneuverability.
Well, if you've got your rocket launcher out, somebody jumps, you switch to shotgun while they're in midair so you don't miss with a rocket.
Yeah, you can just be extremely fast, with extremely fast weapon switching. But there are other mice that have thumb buttons, which you could use for that as well. But if you play MMOs and FPSs, it's a good mouse for both of those. And also, because the G600 has the ring click button, it would be good to map that to grenade throws or melee, depending on which game you're playing. So once again, your left hand never has to leave WASD, and you can just have that full maneuverability, which I am a big fan of.
All right, so you have switched to the G600. Now, if someone has a Naga, would you, recommend that they buy a new one, or what would you recommend for someone who already has a Naga?
Well, in terms of functionality, the Naga and the G600 are obviously extremely close. If you already have the Naga, I wouldn't say run out and get a G600 right now, unless you have the money to blow, then by all means.
Or unless you really hate the Razer software.
Yeah.
I have to bring that up because the Razer software kind of irritates me in a few different ways.
Yeah,
but
it's not the greatest.
Yeah, but the Logitech software is quite nice, and you can see a video on that here.
And obviously I can vouch for the Naga's durability over time, considering I had mine for 2 years and used it every day for hours on end, and it still functions just as it always did. I personally choose the G600 over the Naga.
There you have it.